Hello, Ectosage here on the Sage channel. That is Sleep Art Game and Eat. And today we're taking a look at this heavy assault vehicle, which is built out of a small ship and it is rather large, but still remains relatively maneuverable and has a lot of good speed for going forward. And I'll explain why that is in a minute. First, I'm going to start at the front of the ship and show you the weapon setup. And as I said, this is a heavy assault craft, which means it's really heavily armed. The Gatling guns might not be good for taking out stations, but they could tear through pretty much any other ship. So we have a bunch of them at all these corner points, a bunch in the very middle for aiming, another satellite dish thing there for communications, but hopefully in the future they'll allow us to put cameras on. That way we can still fly a ship in first person, even if the cockpit is somewhere a bit safer. We have our missile launchers around here, and then back here another set of missile launchers and Gatling guns. And of course that is the same up there and down there. We also have these braking thrusters here, which actually are two back, so you got the two there, and then behind them you have another set. Along these sides here, oh, by the way, two more Gatling guns there, so it's got a huge firing area. I'll show its actual targeting reticle and firing in a second. But along the sides here we have this nice inlay of maneuvering thrusters, and they're all set in there. There are, I believe, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them. Yep, that's 8 on each direction, and then another set here, so that's really 16 thrusters in every direction, which actually matches the maximum amount of thrusters that we have facing forwards. And then of course we have the ones this way, as I said, for every direction. Now if we were to fly along the side here and get to the back, you might notice this huge bump out. This is all full of engines. You can see down there on a cutaway, I'll show you in a minute. And you can see it gets to the end where we have this nice little engine setup, and I'm actually rather fond of the back end of this ship here. And actually I'm pretty fond of the whole ship, even if it might be a massive thing and not exactly a fighter. I think it is pretty damn powerful and good. So if we fly over here, it's got another one of these entrances that I've been using in a lot of my ships recently to put the cockpits inside without just having a random glitchy gap or whatever. So you fly up to it, you rotate yourself forward, you press spacebar to fly up, you rotate to the side, W to go forward, and spacebar again. And basically we've just flown through this little chamber here, and we're now in basically a cargo area, where ideally you would actually have a few chairs here or whatever else you might need, and you could have a crew on board the ship. That way it could attack a place, land, and then, well, everybody could be set up then. Anyway, at the front here we have a huge assortment of, if I can just aim forward, there we go, a bunch of reactors up there. I'll explain more of that in a minute when I go to the cutaway. And of course we have our storage containers there for ammo. That is mirrored actually down here and on the other side of the ship, as most of my ships are, it's mirrored. And then we have our actual cockpit here that we can jump into, and it's got nice little metal plates in front of it, and behind it with a little extra protection. So anyway, here we go. This is the ship once you are actually in it. Let me pop up my UI, that way you can see its weight, power, and all that stuff. And I have a bunch of gyros actually running along the top edges of these large engine nacelles right here on the back. Basically the gyros run all the way from the back pretty much to the front. So you got a bunch of those there, and I actually have some other ones hidden inside. But anyway, here we go. If we pop up the targeting system, you can see that we have actually what ends up looking like a pretty awesome reticle setup there. And if we were to fire it, I'm actually pretty fond of it. It's a bit loud right now, but yeah, it's a lot of fun. I actually really enjoy using it. Right now there's not much to shoot at, but what I will do is take a quick pass at these other ships here. Just a really quick pass. And actually, let's do it properly. Let's fly out here. You can see we're accelerating super quickly. That's the beauty of this ship, I find, is just that it's got such great forward acceleration. We're going to flip it around here. The power might actually go into the negative for a second here. Yep, there we go. But I figure if it's only going to the negative when you're trying to stop with all those massive engines, there's no need to cramp the interior of the ship with even more reactors. So there we go. Now let's get a good speed up. Yeah, look how quickly we accelerate. I love that. And now let's disengage our inertial dampeners, and now we can just start firing on these as we go by. We got a little bit of lag there. Let's turn our inertial dampers back on to slow us up. Do another turn here. I think I'll actually rotate us up a bit here, and I think that'll do. Yeah, you can see here everything slows up because it's trying to calculate all those weapons and bullets hitting and everything. And it's tearing through that ship. You can't really see it too well. Wow, that was close, but that was pretty awesome. Anyway, so there's that. That's pretty nice. We also have our missile setup here. So if I switch over to missiles, now I can, after we stop and rotate back, start aiming at some stuff. You can see its targeting reticle is pretty simple as well. And it's got a nice hit of a lot of missiles, actually. The tear and stuff reasonably well. They nerfed missiles a lot from how they were originally added in, which is a good thing probably. But then again, we don't have heavy armor, so who knows? And it's early alpha. Everything's subject to change. We'll see, eh? But there you go. You see it's pretty good at actually ripping through stuff. I like it a lot. Anyway, let's really quickly pop out of this. Switch back to just an empty hand. Oh, I've done a 360 on accident there. Let's fly back out through here. Yeah, there we go. I do this sort of double strange thing there, that way enemies can't just fire straight in and take out your cockpit or anything inside the ship. And now let's actually, before we look at that, just look at the damage that we've done to these on those passes. This one, at the top side, you can see we've actually got a few bullets that came through here from somewhere. I can't exactly remember how. But let's look at the bottom, because I thought I was firing at the bottom of the ship. Yeah, you can see a fair few more bullets have actually hit here and torn this up. It actually looks like it survived pretty well. But this is the one that we hit a lot more, so if we do a quick spin around the top here, yeah, you can see some damage here. We're missing a few engines right there. And then if we go along the bottom, you can see it's been torn open. There's a lot of engines missing from there. You can see straight in here, I believe we might have lost a reactor too. No, it looks pretty good. Some more gyros exposed there. Let's actually fly down and get inside of the ship to see what sort of damage might have been done. Invisible from the inside. You can see this ripped it up a lot. The armor actually did its job pretty good there and kept the ship from being instantly destroyed. So let's fly about, get in here. Whoa, you can see it there already. There's a hole in the bottom there, another hole there. The inside actually held up pretty well. I'm pretty proud at this ship being able to handle its own firepower. At the same time, slightly disappointed that it didn't just tear its brother into pieces in like 2 seconds. Anyway, though, we were flying by pretty quickly. Alrighty, so now let's look at the cutaway. That way, in case you didn't fully get a grasp on the interior of the ship, now you can. You can see at the front here we have all those weapons I was talking about, how they're inlaid. This is the exact center point, by the way, of the ship. So there'll be any blocks you see are along that center point. And you can see basically right behind that weapon setup, we started with our reactors, and as the ship gets a bit fatter, so does the reactor setup until it's a basically 3x3 square right here, and then it's still just a plus sign or a cross, however you like, right here of 3 up, and then 3 across with what is usually, if I fly over here, an open gap, which allowed us to put the ammo storage in there. And then of course we have our cockpit here with the dividing wall in front of it, and by the way we have dividing walls up here just to make sure if bullets start coming through the front of our ship, they're not going to be able to just instantly rip through all of our generators. They'll actually be stopped. Oh, and by the way, of course we have more of these gyroscopes here. And along the bottom, which is the same as up top, we have more gyroscopes, a bunch of engines I was talking about, and you can see even more gyroscopes running along here. That's what I was talking about along the entire length of the ship. And then of course we have our engines up top just the same, and these things here are of course the engines that point out to the side right there. So it's all pretty nice, relatively simple setup inside, but I like how it looks. I like how well it works. And of course, here we go. We have the braking engines that stick out of the front there. I'm actually pretty damn happy with this ship. It might be a huge ship and not exactly ideal, but I don't know, if it could warp in with the rest of an attack force and just do its job and tear stuff up. I like it. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.